Hi, this is Taryn Grome, editor of Pharma Voice. We met with numerous inspirational thought leaders at this year's DIA annual conference as part of our Editors Take video series. I hope you enjoyed this discussion.
In this episode, we spend some time with Marc Sirockman, Executive VP and General Manager, Artcraft Health, and Brian Schaechter, Senior Director, Clinical Trials Division, Artcraft Health. What trends are you seeing in the clinical development space?
There's been a couple of trends. One of the key ones is the FDA initiative about being patient-centric. And what this has put a major push or thoughts around the patient. Some of the concerns that we've seen, though, is that now that everybody's engaged with the patient, they want to look at how they can be successful in this area. What they need to make sure is that they're clear, actionable, relevant, engaging information that they're delivering to the patient. It's not just so important to understand the clinical trial itself or the initiative around the clinical trial and the patient, but how you deliver that message. Some of the other trends that we're seeing is that there's a big push for rare diseases, and we're getting into the rare disease area. And this is a challenging area due to the fact that there's not as many patients. So not only do you need to understand the patient and where they live and how they communicate, but you also have to, again, make sure that you're delivering a clear, actionable, relevant, engaging message at the right time and the right place for the rare disease patients, because they're really all fighting for the same couple of patients.
How do we measure ROI for new technologies in the clinical space?
So the ROI, how do we measure it? Well, with new technology, it's relatively easy to see if the patient is engaged, see if they're communicating, see if they're touching base. So on the backside of any kind of electronic device, you can really look at the trends to see if patients are engaged. Number two is when you're looking at the protocol and you're looking at the information, you can also see an uptick to see if patients are getting engaged, if they're going online. You can also see if caregivers are communicating to talk about the clinical trial, talk about some areas where they can get help. And that really can tell you the difference. And ultimately, you can see how patients are trending in real time these days. You can see if a patient is going and signing up and in real time.
What are the greatest challenges in leveraging new technologies?
I think the greatest challenge is we have some great technology. We have social media, we have blogs, we have different settings where patients can go and caregivers can go to get information. But I think the key is getting the right information there. Once we understand the patient, we have to understand their story. We have to build a story so that they can see it, hear it, and engage in it. So you have to have the right look and feel or the right design, and you have to have the right content. And once you have that all together, and then you have the right story that's really going to impact them, all of a sudden now you have a community that cares and is engaged and wants to stay in the clinical trial. Because some of the challenges are, over time that we've seen a lot of these clinical trials, there's a lot more to them. It's not just come in once, come in twice, but now you have to do a lot more tests routinely. And patients need to understand what it's all about from the beginning, because clear understanding at the very beginning will give you some great results at the end.
What are some of the barriers to delivering patient-centric clinical trials?
I think there are two really big barriers right now. One is getting the sponsors involved early in our cycle, or early actually in their planning, so that we can create the materials that they need for good communication. And the second area is basically regulatory, making sure that we are not pushing the envelope with our sponsors' regulatory departments.
What is the root impact of patient engagement on the industry?
I call it the clinical trial force. It's the feasibility of their studies that are being developed. It's the ownership of getting the patients involved earlier in the cycle for participation. It's the relevance of the science. It's the convenience to the patient. And then it's the overall execution of the study plan.
For more information on this topic, visit our Thought Leaders website.
For more Editors Take videos from the 2015 DIA Annual Conference, visit www.pharmavoice.com. Thanks for joining us.